Good evening and welcome to the High School Caravan with Jim Powers. I am Ray Halbrook, your kind of the MC, I guess, tonight a little bit. I don't know if we want to call it like that, but Jim's already laughing at me here. But there's our website if you want to check us out there, livestreamstl.tkdssports.com. To give you a little shameless plug there. And we are going to have a wonderful time here tonight. We've got a great show here going on, and Jimmy Powers, my friend, that we have gotten to know over the last few years here. And Jim, how you doing?
You know what? I'm excited, and you know, this is something we've been kicking around and kicking the tires on for a few months, and you know, it's just something that I wanted to reboot a little bit, to, you know, continue with, you know, the Caravan on some of the things that we've done in the past, and, you know, continue to cover high school sports the way it should be done. And with Livestream STL, it's a great platform, you know, with everything that you guys do. And you know, having a great venue here, and yes, I'm going to say we're in my home area. We're nice. You know, I'm playing the Homer card right now, guys. You know, River's Edge Social, right here at Watson and River to Pear. You know, Arl and his staff have, you know, we approached him with this idea, and it was, what do you need? How can we make it happen? Let's do it. Right. And you know, we've got a great venue, great food. You know, great service. They do an outstanding job here in South City, and it's about, you know, in my mind, it's the locals. You know, you want to take care of the local businesses. You want to take care of, because, you know, over the last year, and we're going to talk to, you know, the guys that I have to my left here about just how the last year has just been insane on the high school level. Right. But, you know, the small businesses, I mean, they've just been decimated. And, you know, I'm fortunate, and I know, you know, the folks here at River's Edge are very fortunate that they've been able to, you know, make it through and traverse through it, and they did a great job in following all the protocols and everything. So, you know, we got a great venue. We got great content. You know, for the month of March, we're just going to do a show this month. We're going to do one show in April, but then starting in May, we're going to go ahead and move to 2 shows a month. Okay. And just have a lot of fun and really talk about high school sports. Not only boys, we're going to talk a lot of girls. I mean, tonight it's going to be very girls heavy. You know, with what we're going to talk about, but we're going to talk about everything. It's just not going to be a football show, or it's just not going to be a basketball show. It's going to be a show that we're going to touch every sport out there. So
we're calling this the reboot, right?
Yes, this is the reboot. Yes, this is the reboot. I mean, you know, we started the Caravan many years ago on 590. Harry Schrader, Kevin Paulus, Todd Schumacher, John Edwards all joined in. You know, as we were muddling our way through this thing, Dave Green, who was the station owner at the time, and, you know, we kind of took a hiatus for a while just because, you know, different things going on, you know, there. But it's exciting that we can finally bring some great content back under the High School Sports Caravan name, and that's what we're going to do, and we're going to have a lot of fun doing it.
Well, there you go. Tell us who we got today.
Yeah, let's talk to these guys. I think everybody's done eating, so these guys kind of killed the wings in the spin dip here. We got 2 guys that were in the state championship games. One fell a little short, one won it, and then we've got one of the best ADs in the area, bar none, with us from Webster Groves, their girls basketball coach Josh Spool, from Whitfield High School, Mike Slater, and from Eureka High School, Greg Cleveland. And you know, these guys have had to deal with a lot over the last year. And, Clee, I'm going to start with you. You're the administrator of the bunch. You know, this whole year, just with protocols and how to deal with different things. You know, talk a little bit about, on the administrative side, what you've had to do to make sure the kids are safe, to make sure that they can play and do the things that they love to do.
Yeah, so this year has been I said I've been an AD now. I've been in education for 31 years, and this is my 5th year as an AD, and I've been through 2 floods, 2 major construction projects, and now pandemic. So there might be some people saying Cleveland needs to get out. We need some normalcy around here. But, yeah, no, this year, I've said this before, it was kind of like, you know, building a plane as you're flying it. Mm-hmm. Every day you show up and you were just dreading, or am I going to get that phone call that somebody was going to be shut down? You know, you check the DataWise, which is our software that lets us know what kids have been exposed. And then you try and start rebuilding the schedule. You know, we've met. I know at the beginning of the year, when St. Louis County was shut down, Dr. Miles in Rockwood was on board with us trying to find facilities outside of St. Louis County to play in. So, we had some places in Franklin County and Jefferson County that were going to let us play. So we'd kind of built a schedule for teams that we could play out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, shortly after that, St. Louis County opened up and let, football and let the fall sports kind of get going. So, that was kind of the first step. Then winter came along, and it was, okay, let's, try and keep things going normal. I know at Eureka we had some teams that had to, be shut down for a little bit, but we did end up making it through everything. And then the second wave was, okay, now we've got to figure out how do we get fans in the stands,
right?
Because that's the big thing about this, the whole COVID situation is we all understand about how the safety aspect of it, and we've got to always had to keep that in mind. But as far as some of these kids, it's the last time they're going to play sports,
yeah.
And that's the big one, I know I'd said earlier, it's about making sure these kids get on tape and that kind of stuff, and that's important. But more important are, most of our kids, it's their last opportunity, and then obviously their parents' last opportunity to see them play. So we kind of maneuvered through that. We got our protocols in place, and, now kind of here we are in the spring, and, things are starting to get a little bit more normal. So it's been baby steps, and, kind of like I said, every day is just wake up and see what we got to try and maneuver through.
No doubt about it. And Mike, we'll go to you. And this is what I wanted to talk about from the coach's side. We'll get into Springfield here in a little bit, but you guys had to been sitting on pins and needles. First off, are we going to have a winter season? Secondly, do you get that email at 8 o'clock in the morning saying, okay, we're shut down for 2 weeks? I mean, for a coach, that just had to be some of the worst feelings ever after last spring and then moving through into the fall.
Yeah, you just never knew. Well, first of all, thanks for having me today. You just never knew what was going to happen, whether, like you said, it was that phone call or that text message or that email, if we were going to get shut down for whatever reason, because the school decided not to play, maybe because a kid got exposed, a coach. There were so many variables that we had to consider, and it just made it that much more difficult to kind of navigate.
And Josh, same thing for you. I mean, it once again, just pins and needles and just trying to get through it and make sure that nothing bad happens and you can get to the finish line like you guys were able to get to this past weekend.
We went through one full team quarantine, and we went through one 2-player quarantine, and then one single player quarantine, and it was nuts. I mean, we lost out on some games, and I knew, of course, when we're decent that would happen, But man, to get to still get to play, and hats off to all the ADs, and I mean, that's the best part, is that we still got to do it. So we feel pretty blessed for that.
You two had a chance to make the trip this weekend that everybody wants to make. And, Mike, I'm going to start with you.
That's fair. That Mike gets to go first, by the way. That's completely fair.
Hey, listen, first of all, he said they were decent, and he said that's fair. They beat us twice. Okay, let's put that out there. They beat us twice.
But I asked you, when we chatted, yesterday, the first words I asked you were, did you let go of that trophy at all? And tell everybody what your answer was, because I kind of expected the answer you gave me.
So I haven't had it, right? my senior, Kelsey Blakemore, would not let it go, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Everybody's made a big deal about this being our 4th trip in 5 years. Every other time, I got stuck with it, right? The second, the 2/3, I'm lugging that thing around. The first, I don't think I touched it, and that's a true story. So, Kelsey has it. She deserves it, and I probably won't see it until it gets to the trophy case.
but you know what, though, Mike, and here's what I'm going to say about, what you guys have done. In the years past, you've run into absolute buzzsaws. Stratford, I mean, that's all I need to say right there. I mean, when they had Haley there and all that. How sweet is winning the state championship this time around, especially moving up a class?
They're all special. And one of the things that we talked about was we can't control who we play. We always felt like we had an opportunity and we could compete, and one thing led to another, and we didn't finish the deal. But to get bumped up 2 classes, and now that expectation is, well, can they get back? And if they do, what's going to happen? And so it was pretty sweet because the size of our school didn't change,
right?
No
doubt.
So no, I don't know if you want to say defied odds or whatever, but it was very special because we'd gone and just kept missing out. And Kelsey, like I said, I can't speak enough about her and her leadership and how badly she wanted to finish this thing off. And Josh just said it. I mean, we were so blessed to get through the season.
Yeah.
And if I'm fortunate enough, I'll coach some more teams. But these kids have a finite window. And I tell them all the time, I want this for you. This is not for me. I don't play a second of defense. I don't play a second of offense.
Maybe a second. I'll get out there for like a second.
Hey, I can
show you a stance. I may not move side to side, but I'll show you for a second.
Right, but this is for you guys, and it was awesome. For the first time for the school to have a girls basketball state championship team.
You're not in Patsu's shadow anymore. Well, you never. I'm going to say this: you never were in Patsu's shadow.
Shots fired.
But
good correction.
Good
Mike, if you're listening, Jim said that. That's not me.
Hey, Patsu, he didn't pay me to say that either. So, and Mike Patsu, their athletic director, once again, very good friend of mine, very good friend of the Caravan and all that stuff. Josh, for you guys, that game in the semifinal, I think, may go down as one of the instant classics that we have seen in quite a few years down in the state Final Four. I mean, playing a terrific Kickapoo team, being down, and then just, there's a young lady by the name of Pelusic, I think her name is,
yep,
that said, this ain't ending on my watch, and you guys were able to get the W. And by the way, I just want to say your high step was absolutely unbelievable.
He beat me to the punch.
You know what, though, guys? And you both know Jay Blossom. Yeah. I mean, we all know Jay. I'm still trying to figure out which one was better, Jay's dance after winning the semifinal or Josh's high step.
So Jay immediately sent – okay, so first off, let's talk about how that hit social media. That was our wonderful video gentleman, Steve. If you're watching, Steve, I'm still coming for you. So he posted that. It wasn't like somebody else. It was literally our guy took that clip and did that. Well, Jay immediately after the game was like, it's not as good as this, and sent that clip of him. So I'm not sure how that's going to go down, if we need to vote or how that works.
If I have anything to say about it, that clip's not going down because we wouldn't let Jay's clip go down when he did the dance after the game.
That game, though, oh, wow. Sometimes, and I'm sure Michael agrees, sometimes you don't know for sure, but we got down pretty quick. Mm-hmm. But I still was like, didn't lose myself, which can happen as a coach pretty easily.
No.
And I'm surprised.
That never happened.
Never had to talk to anybody.
Being my first time there, the team's first time there, and, man, they just fighting back. And like you brought up Ellie. I mean, what a game she played.
Yeah.
Jenna Clark at the end of the game. I mean, just tons of big – Gabby Moore hitting a big shot late. We were scared of that team, man, watching them on film because we don't see them live anywhere. They're so far away, and they are a tough, good basketball team.
Well, and plus, I forget who I was saying. Jim Pendergrass does such an unbelievable job down there. And, I've had a chance to see them play when they played Kirkwood in the state Final Four. I've had a chance to see them play out at the Norm Stewart. And what Jim does, they're not going to make mistakes. They're not going to shoot themselves in the foot. They're going to be fundamentally sound and do the right things. You guys did the same thing. You kind of gave them a taste of their own medicine a little bit, especially in the second half when you kind of took that initial punch in the mouth and then started the battle back in the second quarter.
Yeah, our only, I don't want to say only hope, like we weren't abysmal. We knew there was a shot, but we noticed that maybe they didn't play 4 quarters as hard as they could, and we thought maybe we could catch them getting a little tired. And I think that showed in the fourth quarter. But, man, that didn't work with Incarnate. But first time in school history going to the Final Four, pretty cool. Our superintendent told me, the school's been around for over 150 years, so I guess it's a pretty big deal. I was like, well, I appreciate that. I don't feel as bad now that we just lost, but thanks for saying that. But, man, what an experience. And, again, just that our kids got to do this when we thought maybe this wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
It's pretty special.
No doubt. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, I want to talk about something with all three of you, because there's a lot of people out there that think that this year should have an asterisk next to it. I totally disagree with it. I'm sure you guys do, but I want to have a conversation about that because there's a lot of people chatting about just how everything went down this year. So we're going to take a break. We're live here at River's Edge. It's the High School Sports Caravan Show. I'm Jim Powers, Ray Hallbrook alongside, and great times here. If you're in the area in South City, make sure to stop on by. We're having a lot of fun talking some great high school hoops and other sports with our great panel here. So we'll be back here in a couple minutes.
Hope you're enjoying tonight's presentation. Take advantage of the HD experience here with Livestream STL by going to the TKDS Sports Network app. Download the app and subscribe by going to videos.tkdssports.com. That'll get you access onto our TKDS Sports app, Roku, and Fire Stick. And thanks so much for your support of Livestream STL.
Guys, I've always wanted to ask you this since you're both pitchers. What's your favorite pitch? It's a fastball? Okay, I know. It's a curveball. No? Okay, well, what's your favorite pitch?
Oh, yeah. Spitball.
The Main Street Sports Show. You never know what we're going to throw at you.
Tell us we can't, and we'll prove you wrong. Knock us down, and we'll get right back up. Call us risk takers, misfits, bad boys. But we know what we want, and it feels like American muscle, looks like advanced engineering, and smells like fresh, cut grass. Bad boy. Mow with an attitude.
This live stream STL has been a huge asset for Jefferson County sports, in my opinion. I mean, getting these athletes the camaraderie that they're out there and people can see them. I mean, to be honest with you, I got a call from a coach yesterday about one of my athletes that said that they saw some of her games on live stream STL.
Awesome.
So, I mean, that right there instilled to me that this is important. This is important for those kids. And so, I think it's great, and I wish you guys the best. And if you're out there and you want to sponsor, this is a great opportunity for kids to support kids of our local kids and get them support and get them acknowledgement out there because we have a lot of great athletes in this county.
We appreciate that. And at the end of the day, our mission is much the same as your missions, coaches, to help shine a light on these kids and get them exposure and get their name out there and help them. And if they can advance, they're better off, we're better off as a community, and that's why we're here.
Jefferson College has affordable degree options for students of all ages. Plus, register before December 11th and you could win a $250 book scholarship or other great prizes. Jefferson College provides safe on-site and online options and many exciting career pathways like humanities, business, social science and public service, math, physics and technology, and science and health. Students who know, go Jeffco. Enroll now at jeffco.edu.
And we are back for our second segment here. Jim, enjoying it so far, and I'll tell you, it's been. Tell us a little bit about how long the high school caravan's been going. All right, let me turn your microphone on first.
Oh my gosh,
right?
It's been a while.
Right?
Shoot, and I want to say that Mike, you were still right up the street here when we started the Caravan.
Yeah.
You know, Dave Green and Harry Schrader started the Caravan back in 05, I believe it was. And then I came over in 07, and at that point we were just doing a football game. We would go on the air at 6:45, football game over with, done. Well, back in Northeast Ohio, Western Pennsylvania, where I moved from back in 04, and it's hard to believe that I've been here 17 years now. Wow. We used to do high school coverage. We would do a pregame show at 6 o'clock, and then a game, and then we would do a postgame show to where coaches could call in after the games, let the fans call in. We would have scores and all that stuff. And so I said to Harry and Dave, I said, I think we can make this work here in St. Louis. And at first, they looked at me like I had three eyes. They're like, you want to do high school coverage for 5 hours on a Friday night? I'm like, yeah, why not? We did it, and it was unbelievable. The response was terrific. And that's where I've, through that, and then when we kind of went on the hiatus a few years back, some of my best friends have are coaches and administrators and, the kids that I've had a chance to cover. And that's the one thing that a lot of my friends back home in Youngstown, they say, when Adrian Claiborne signed with the Browns, one of my buddies was like, hey, didn't he play high school? Yeah, I saw the kid play. He was a beast in high school. Calling games in Robert's Gymnasium and calling games up at Whitfield and, coming out to Rockwood. And I always love going out to Eureka because it's such a great atmosphere. I just kept saying, we got to figure something out. And sure enough, with Ray's help and that we're able to kind of get the band back together a little bit and, have a lot of fun. But, I do this for the love of the kids. I do it for the love of the coaches and the ADs because there's not enough high school coverage in the St. Louis area. There's just not. And, I'm fortunate with what Fox 2 does. I mean, I remember the first year that I did Fox 2, it was a 10-minute. I would go on for a minute, and that was it. They've now expanded their coverage to 20 minutes on Friday nights, from 10:10. Dave Jober and Martin and Charlie Marlowe really kind of pushed for that. And, to have 20 minutes of high school coverage is unbelievable. And I keep joking, like, take TMZ off at 10:30. Let us go from 10:30 to 11. and I guarantee you there is enough content there that we could do it. But the station still won't do that. But, I'm fortunate to be a part of, Fox 2. And once again, I get to keep my relationships with, guys like you and a lot of the other great coaches and administrators and former athletes. And that's one of the cool things that we're going to do here, too, is we're going to catch up with some of the former athletes. In fact, the other night had a great conversation with Trevor Trout. And his story is unbelievable. After he graduated from Chaminade, went out to USC, and wasn't able to play football anymore. And so what he did was he, once again, smart kid, went to the classroom, took care of his business in the classroom. He's doing some terrific internships in sports media. Those are the stories that we want to talk about and tell on this show over the next, bunch of months and that. So, I've been fortunate covering some great coaches and great kids, but, the Caravan is, I wasn't letting it die. And sure enough, we're here now, and the reboot is in full effect. So, all right, before we went to break, I said that a lot of people think that this year there should be an asterisk.
Ray, hit the boo button. Hit the boo button, Ray.
I don't have one of those.
Yeah, we need one of those.
We can make it up. Boo.
But, you know what? I do have a boo button. Hold on. Wait for it. Let me find it.
There it is.
Thank you.
For anybody to even think that, number one, needs to honestly have their head examined. For everything that the kids went through, the coaches went through, the ADs, the parents. Am I going to sit here and say I wasn't the biggest cheerleader? Darn straight I was the biggest cheerleader. And me and Clee talked a lot during, late August, early September until, because I knew what you guys were going through. And we should have been playing sports a lot sooner. Then basketball comes up. Okay, the kids got to wear masks. The officials got to wear masks. What are we doing here? And then somebody says, oh, yeah, Whitfield wins a state championship. There needs to be an asterisk next to it. Webster Groves is the state runner-up, and Carnot Word's the state champion. Oh, those two need to have asterisks next to it. If there's an asterisk, then Clee, you may go ahead and say what you said when we were off the air about what an asterisk should mean in this situation.
Yeah. If you want to put an asterisk, absolutely, but that asterisk means that this was one heck of a season. I mean, it should absolutely be singled out from everything else because the coaches and the players and the parents, everybody went through things that they've never gone through. And the steps that everyone took to be able to play, I mean, all kudos to the, like I said, the players, the coaches, parents, everybody, because it was not easy. And there was 2 or 3 times when we being the ADs, when we have our meetings, we're talking, and it's like, I don't know that we can keep this up. This isn't sustainable, but you know what? We just kept plugging, and things kind of got better. And like I said, put that asterisk in there because everybody needs to remember the year of 2020, 2021.
Right. I don't think any of us are going to forget this. I mean, to be honest, I'm a basketball official. I mean, I've worked Josh's games. Mike, I've worked your game. I opted out of working in the county this year because I could not wear a mask. I mean, once again, a lot of people know I've lost a lot of weight over the last year. I still, despite that, could not wear a mask and run up and down the court. Mike, and Josh, I can't figure out for the life of me how your kids were able to do what they did at the level that they played wearing a mask all season long.
Well, I agree 100% with what he just said. And, I mean, he said players and coaches. I'd say the same thing for ADs. I mean, that could not have possibly been easy, right? Just all the hoops that they had to jump through, all the different things. I mean, from sanitation to trying to figure out if we're going to have fans, if we're not going to have fans. I know Whitfield didn't have fans all year. And so that made a lot of parents unhappy, but they understood to some degree, right? Well, and if it's, okay, we can't watch it, but we can watch it on live stream, but they still get to play. Okay, we'll deal with that. There's so much. So, you can put an asterisk there. That just means that it was twice as hard, if not more so. And, I would say anyone who thinks otherwise, put a mask on, try to run up and down a gym for 2 hours and see how you feel, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, I was just walking and talking, right? And so that's not the easiest thing to do.
I'm going to say this. I probably spent $100 some odd on masks. I finally found out how to get the SEC coaches' masks. And it's the best mask, and I wish I would have had this earlier because I may have been able to do it, but
Are we getting those for being on tonight?
You're getting free food from River's Edge. That's a party gift. So.
Fair enough.
The wings are delicious.
There's the shameless plug right there. Got to throw the shameless plug in.
That's okay.
You know, but I mean, the expenses on buying masks. And Josh, I know what you're going to say, but go ahead and say it. You know, an asterisk with a season like this, come on, let's be realistic about this.
Greg and Mike hit it on the head. I mean, we should get bonus points. I don't know how,
Can we get 2 titles?
Right. I don't know how that looks, but we'll
evaluation should go away for the year and pay raises across the board.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know
seriously.
what? I didn't even think about a pay raise. That's a
Hey, I
Greg.
like it.
Let's go to Greg on this.
We'll find it somewhere.
Jerry Collins, I hope
Now,
you're listening
I was
right
about
now.
I was about to give Jerry a plug because
Please,
Jerry Collins
please.
is one heck of an athletic
Yes, he is.
administrator. Just awesome. Everything he did, was transparent. Talking to me all the time. Hey, we got to do this. We got to try this. And going to Springfield. For us, going to Springfield was kind of like down there. Nobody thought it was a thing. We played a couple places out of the county where we're wearing masks and they're not wearing them at all. And, that was hard to get through to the kids. Like, hey, do you want to play? Then you're going to wear it.
Yeah.
I put it like that and never said anything else. And the kids luckily bought into that.
And that was the hard part is, when you do go somewhere else, we had discussions. Do we play by their rules? Do we play by our rules? And like you said, there was a couple times we were masked up, they weren't. And it's a huge advantage for the other team. But, bottom line, you just have, like I said, the conversations with the coaches. This is what it takes for us to keep playing.
Yeah.
Is it fair? Is it fun? No, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and I would agree with Josh with the whole thing. Like, I've given my kids credit all season long because I made them wear masks before the rule came down from St. Louis County, and so we heard the rumors, and so we said, listen, I'm not going to spring this on you 2 days before a game. We're just going to get used to it, and we're going to play in practice. We're going to play in games, and we're just going to get used to it. And, hey, if it turns out we don't have to play, great. But we're not going to just spring this on you at the last minute. And so our administration also said, hey, you guys can't play anybody that doesn't wear a mask. And so we usually didn't play in St. Charles County, but this year we played 5 games in St. Charles County. Like, come on. But I tell you, Ted Hickey over at Fort Zumwalt North was just tremendous because he had us over in this tournament, and he told all the teams, hey, you play Whitfield, you're going to have to wear a mask. And everybody complied. And you're talking about North County from Bonne Terre, Jill Nagel, and Rockbridge. I mean, all those teams agreed, hey, if we end up playing them, we'll wear a mask. And everybody was tremendous at doing that. So we were truly, truly blessed with all of that. And our kids, I'll echo Josh. I told them, hey, you want to play? Let's do this. And they bought in, and off we went.
Well, the kids never complained.
Yeah.
It was maybe some parents or somebody else watching, like, why aren't they wearing them and you are? And I if the kids were...
I was complaining about it. I didn't agree. I mean, especially when you've got the NCAA doctors and their sports medicine people coming out and saying it's not healthy. This is not what we want our student athletes to do. And I'm reading all this information, and I'm just like, what are we doing? I think if the running joke with all of us at Livestream STL and when I join our good friends on the coaches box is when I refer to he who shall remain nameless, you knew that was coming, Ray, at some point. You knew
You're talking about the good doctor, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Just double check.
I think if he hears my name or voice anymore, thank goodness I live here in the city. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say. But the one other group that I think you guys will attest to this, the athletic trainers.
Oh,
what an unbelievable job. And Josh and Mike, I know you guys got 2 of the best in the area, and then obviously Clee. Talk about just how big of a deal this was for the athletic trainers. I mean, they get no love at all out of this whole deal, but they're the ones doing the temp checks, doing the symptom checks, doing everything along those lines.
Well, and I think trainers are used to that. Am I wrong?
No.
They never get the credit that they should get. The
Right.
stuff they put up with, not even dealing with COVID. We had to do screenings as a coaching staff for the kids, and but the trainers are always there to help. Sean Wright, my dude, also my department chair. So, Sean, you're the best I've ever met my whole life. You're the best. And Jerry Collins, he was right there all the way.
he's an old athletic trainer.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's how
Yeah.
Jerry
Yeah.
started. So, that was, again, I just keep feeling blessed, that we got to do this. And luckily we were surrounded by, and we still went through quarantines. It is what it is. But, it's definitely, Sean did an awesome job.
Yeah, my guy, Charlie Weir.
Oh,
Got to
yeah.
give a shout out to Charlie Weir.
He's an old Eureka
over at
boy.
Whitfield. Yeah. And,
Good one.
and Charlie was there every day, taking temps, doing everything we needed him to do, in addition to taping ankles and checking everybody else
Doing the
out
normal
for-
stuff that they do.
Yeah, on top of his normal day job. And so, and again, I just can't say enough about our administration because we had to do some things differently. They provided the coaches with the infrared handheld temp gauges, and so when
we have
practice,
one at our office in Maryville.
Yeah,
I mean, on game days, we have to get temp checked right along with the students. So absolutely.
So when we practiced on non-school days, we had to do that. So they armed us with all of the necessary things, and even things like air whistles, right, that you wouldn't really think about. So you wouldn't have to take your mask down to blow a whistle. I just had it in my hand. And so, between, our administration and Charlie as our athletic trainer, we had everything covered. We didn't want for anything. So it was tough, and that's why I come back again and say, between our ADs and all the other, our principal, our head of school, just, I feel like they thought you can't say they thought of everything because there was just so many things that came at you, but they thought of a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And we were talking before we came on air. I think you said it. We were flying the plane and just kind of building it as we flew. And so I think all of our folks that had a hand in it really did a tremendous job of helping us out.
Well, that's what we were talking about. Is none of us had a playbook on this.
No,
I mean, I'm a former coach. You guys are coaches. Clee's not only a former coach, but he's also an administrator. Okay, March 16th of last year happens. What do we do? How do we do this? We all literally wrote our own playbooks on how to do this and, flying the plane and different things along those lines.
And see, the thing is so for 25 years I was a coach. I coached football, baseball, golf, and all that. As a coach, you kind of keep things to yourself. If you've got something that's working, you're not usually out there sharing that with people. Fast forward to my AD days, and it's like a giant fraternity where it's just the opposite. If something works, everybody's out there. Hey, here's what we're doing, and it's not that coaches don't work together, but ADs during this have proven that it's to that next level. The Kesslers. That are out there meeting with St. Louis County all the time.
Jen Brooks
Jen
and
Brooks.
Scott Lusack over. I mean,
Scott,
that job that those guys did
Yeah.
when they disbanded the task force originally, but then the ADs finally got into those conversations, and Kess and Jen and Scott. The job they did and getting us to where we were was just unbelievable. And they don't get enough credit either.
No, not at all. Because, like I said, that was one of the 2 or 3 times I was talking about. We thought it was done.
Yeah.
I mean, because they came back and they said, they are not going to let us do this. They're not going to let and it was like, you want to throw your hands up. You're like, you can't do it this way. But guess what? You figured out a way to get it done, and then people started getting used to it, and then the momentum started building, and everything ended up the way it did.
I'll still never forget the conversation me and you had. In early September when the ball
that one's okay.
When the house of cards started falling.
Yeah.
And I talked to Kess, and then I talked to you, and at that point that was really the first time that I really thought we are not going to play sports at all this year. They're going to shut everything down. And these poor kids are it's just going to be a mess. And, that was one of the conversations that just stayed with me throughout this whole thing. And then, what everybody was able to pull together. And you're exactly right. I don't even think it was the ADs pulling together a lot. I think it was the coaches and the AD, and their staffs. And, trying to figure everything out.
Yeah, we knew we had to be like, you tell us what to do and we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
And my heart goes out to last spring.
Oh my gosh.
When those teams, we had a brand new baseball coach at Webster. He came in and had 2 days of practice, and then they were done. I mean, those kids, those seniors, Oh man, it
well,
stunk.
It breaks your heart.
You know?
It does,
Yeah.
and
It breaks your heart.
you know, just from a spring coach's perspective, I coach boys golf at Whitfield.
Yeah.
We had a senior who, in my heart of hearts, I believe would have won the individual medal.
Wow.
And I mean, he was 2 strokes back as a junior, and I'm sorry, Drew. He had a quad on a hole that
You
I
don't
know.
use the Q word in
I
golf.
know.
That's a good hole for powers.
You're right. You are exactly right.
But my man Drew
Scrambles,
Newland,
baby.
you know,
That's it, scrambles. That's why I don't play individual anymore. It's all scrambles.
There you go.
but he could have won the individual, and I feel like we had a good shot because we had won. You know, we placed second the year before, and we had everybody back. And I just, to Josh's point, man, spring sports, and we missed that. And my heart goes out for those seniors, and kind of coming to what you were talking about. Coaches, we just didn't want to see that again.
Yeah.
And so Josh hit the nail on the head. We were like, hey, whatever we have to do, we'll do it. Just tell us.
I remember saying, oh, they want us to wear a mask? No way. We're not, And then, like you said, hey, let's start practicing with them.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we had to do. I was like, you tell me they got to wear something on their head, a bubble. I mean, as long as they're safe, if the kids are safe, I'm good with it,
Yeah.
But anything that we could do to help.
Yeah, no doubt. We're going to step aside for one more break. When we come back, I want to talk about your teams and some of your kids. Clay, I want to talk about the great things going on at Eureka. And then we'll finish up the show. There's a little thing going on in Indianapolis. I want to talk a little bit about March Madness and the insanity that has taken place over the first 4 days. So we're live here at River's Edge. I'm Jim Powers. It's a high school sports caravan show. If you're in the South City area, stop on by. If you have any questions, go ahead and type it into the chat. We'd love to hear from you. And also remember, tomorrow night, it's the 1-year anniversary of the Coaches Box. The boys are sitting over there. I hope Miller and Riley are taking notes right now because about for tomorrow night. So, but no, they do a great job with Jason Jarvis and with Zach McFay. They're on tomorrow night. We hope 7 o'clock, but we have no idea. To be determined. Especially since they're doing it in Jarvis's basement.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the bad thing.
Hey, Jim and I are coming down. So
we're crashing. So, but no, Coach's Box tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. It's going to be a blast. Make sure you tune those guys in, and we'll talk more about that here in a minute. You're watching the High School Sports Caravan Show. We're live here at River's Edge. We'll be back in a moment right here on Livestream STL.
I wonder what Coach Jarvis is up to.
Jason! What's up? What's up? Man! Oh, hang on a minute. I got a call from Blair. What's up?
What am I doing? I'm sitting here watching the Coach's Box.
This must be a wrong number.
That Rand, I'll say real quick, I really admire what you guys do with this. I think everybody who's ever tuned into one of these, whether it's a Legion game, whether it's a high school baseball game, whether basketball, football, whatever it is, I've heard nothing but tremendous feedback about Livestream STL and what you guys do and the quality of production, things like that. I would really encourage anybody who's involved in athletics throughout the county, or really anywhere in the metro area, anybody who's interested in sponsoring activities to get on board and get involved with this. I think it's added a ton to what we do here. It's added a ton to the program. You guys are a class act, and you're committed to doing things the right way, and we really appreciate that.
Hi, I'm Lawrence Crodinger with Home by SMCI. Whether it's residential or commercial, we have the right products for you. Global Plasma Solutions will attack your bacteria, mold, viruses, even help dust in your house. They install easily, less than 45 minutes, and it's invaluable for the rest of your life. If you're interested in any of the products that we do offer, give us a call at 636-337-4444 or send us an email at service@homebysmci.com.
Hey, Ray Halbrook here with Livestream STL. We hope you're enjoying tonight's broadcast. Do us a huge favor. Check out our brand new website, livestreamstl.tkdssports.com. There you'll see plenty of information about your schools, articles about different games and whatnot, and we appreciate you checking that out. Do us a huge favor also. We'd really like for you to mention Livestream STL to your athletic directors and superintendents. Tell them you want us in there to bring high value to your school. We'd appreciate that. And thanks again for watching tonight's broadcast.
I'm about to get teed up.
What? I'm talking to them. I'm not talking to you. Are you kidding me? You're throwing me out of a summer league game? I'm not Riley Blair. I'm not going anywhere. Even shoot the free throws. Shoot the cops. Join us. Coach's Box, 7 p.m. live from Robert Jenkins. Tuesday night. See you there.
And we are back for our final segment here. I want to thank so much the folks over here at River's Edge Social. Come on out here. This is a great place to eat. Nice atmosphere. Lots of folks here tonight, and we're just having a good time. I see Riley Blair over my shoulder here. Hi, Riley. He's waving his hand at me there, him and his wife, Sammy. They're from the Coach's Box, and we're going to have our 1-year anniversary tomorrow. 52 weeks with these crazy guys, Jim. I don't know how we made it, but we did.
I'm just curious how many times that show's going to go off the rails tomorrow.
Right?
I can count at least 4 per show anymore. But no, River's Edge Social here. It's on Watson, right next to River to Pear. Great food. Christina's back behind the bar doing a phenomenal job, and these guys have welcomed us with open arms for what we're doing and all that stuff. And without them, not sure what we would be doing with this thing. So we want to thank the great folks there and, everybody that's tuning in. And one quick comment, Dennis Neville would like to congratulate the athletic directors and all the coaches, and a big congratulations to my friend Josh Spool and the Webster Groves girls team. So once again, this is going to be interactive as well. We want people to type in questions and different things along those lines. So let's talk about some kids. Let's talk about what's going on. Clee, once again, a great winter season for the folks at Eureka. I had a chance to see James and the girls basketball team, and the job that Austin did on the boys side of things. I mean, you guys had a great winter with your sports over at Eureka.
We did, yeah. It's amazing. Coach Alsop's been there 20. Golly, he won state in 2000.
Yeah,
he's still there.
Oh, he likes to continue to tell me.
Oh yeah,
that happened.
His comment was, They beat us. I got a good evaluation. I'll be watching the show tonight.
Okay. I'll remember that, yeah. Our boys team, another I don't want this to sound bad, but you kind of look at everybody as the season starts off, and you walk into the gym and you look at our kids and you're like, wow, it just doesn't look like one of those seasons. But they ended up having 19 wins.
Yeah.
I mean, they do such a good job of putting kids in positions to be successful. And then, the one sport, I know we're talking a lot about basketball here, obviously, because we got 2 basketball coaches here, but wrestling, I don't even know where to begin on how wrestling made it through, because wearing masks, doing the things they needed to do, podding up, all of that. We had, Will Nelson took 5th in state. We had Lily McCullum took 4th in state. So, we had some tremendous individual performances. And again, all of them. How can I forget? Our girls swim team, 2nd in state.
Unbelievable.
We won the 400 free. Took 1st in that, and then we had a freshman girl, Hayden Schessel, who took 1st in the 50 free. Great things. Coach Cordham did a fantastic job, navigating all that, because we had some shutdowns along the way. Didn't have to shut down totally, but, enough to where it affected some stuff. But rather than looking for excuses, they found out ways to get it done. And, again, just couldn't be more proud of our Eureka athletes and the coaches and how they made it through.
No doubt about it. Let's talk to you guys about your kids. And Mike, you mentioned that superstar that you've got, but you've got a lot of other great kids that played a big role, and also played in a couple state championship games that you guys fell a little bit short. Talk about those kids.
And if I could just follow up for a quick second, shout out to Whitfield and Charlie Sherritts and that machine of a wrestling program that he's got over there, winning another state title after getting bumped up as well. So, just so many of our sports teams did a great job this fall and winter. But, we've got a senior in Kelsey Blakemore who started every single game except for senior night her freshman year. So for obvious reasons. And so Kelsey was the heart and soul of this team for the last couple years. She was a captain as a sophomore, led us in scoring as a junior and a senior, 2nd in rebounding from the guard spot as a junior and a senior, and has just done such a tremendous job of doing everything we asked her to do on the floor, off the floor, and, she's had to lead a band of very talented underclassmen. I mean, the thing that I talk about a lot is we had 7 kids that were sophomores or younger, and they had to learn how to play at this level. Yeah, they play a lot in the spring and summer, but high school is very different.
Right.
Josh will tell you. Right.
Oh yeah.
You've got 5-6 days a week, maybe a little more than that, where you have to balance school. You got to do your strength and conditioning. You got to do so many different things. And it's the winter time. The weather isn't 80, 90 degrees outside, so you got to take care of your bodies. And so they don't really truly understand that until they get in the throes of it.
The one thing, and I'm going to ask you this too, Josh, here in a second. The one thing, and, for a lot of people that don't know, I'm normally in Evansville tonight for the Division II Elite Eight. I moderate all the press conferences and all that. Well, they're doing everything virtually this year. And was talking to some of the student athletes during interviews last week. And one of the things and it was actually one of our student athletes at Maryville that said this back in the fall. She actually reaffirmed her love for the game because of everything being shut down over the spring, over the summer. You couldn't play league. You couldn't play this, that, and the other thing. You couldn't go work out with your trainers. Did you kind of notice that, Mike, with your kids, that with what happened, it kind of reshuffled their thought process and reaffirmed their love for the game of basketball?
Absolutely, because, typically we do a lot of our high school stuff in June. Mm-hmm. Well, we couldn't do that. It got pushed back, and so I think we maybe had 3 days in July where we got together. And because of the rules in St. Louis County, everybody had a mask. Mm-hmm. You had one person per basket. And so what were we really doing?
What are you accomplishing at that point?
Exactly. Not a whole lot. But so you couldn't do that. And then with their club teams, college coaches couldn't come. So they really weren't doing a whole lot of traveling. Most of our kids didn't do any at all.
Yeah.
And so it really kind of relit that fire, for lack of a better phrase, and then we couldn't, do our normal open gyms in the fall. So we had Zoom calls every 2 weeks just to kind of check in and kind of calm everybody's nerves, saying, hey, don't listen to anything you've heard. We're still moving forward. And so, it it really lit that fire. And by the time we got to November 1st, they were ready to go. So
no doubt, Josh. Talk about your kids, but also talk about what about kind of you don't know what you have until it's gone. That kind of mentality, and how a lot of the kids may have reaffirmed their love for the game over the summer with not being able to do the things that they normally do.
Yeah, I mean, we had kids that normally would be playing all year long and had no summer. We were doing Zoom workouts.
Mm-hmm.
Did that do anything? I really don't know. But we did it. Hey, you're going to do some push-ups. All of a sudden, they're not in the screen. So did they do the push-ups? I don't know.
They're laying down on the floor.
You just hear people counting.
Great time.
Yeah.
Great
88,
time, Coach.
89.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're doing great. It was just nuts. I mean, summer ball, to me, it's a fun time that the kids come together, and then when our season comes, remember those good times? Now let's build off that. And we didn't have it.
Right.
Again, put that under the asterisk.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Without a doubt.
To not have that and still be able to, and we're lucky enough to finally have a couple seniors. I know they had one, but have a couple to try to lead.
Mm-hmm.
And this time was huge.
Yeah.
If we had been young like the last few years, I'm not sure what would have happened. So Gabby Moore, Jamise Bailey, Dana Buford, I mean, they were our only seniors, and they stepped up big time to kind of, hey, girls, we got to focus up because we can do something,
Yeah.
And then our younger kid, I say younger, they're juniors.
They're juniors.
Which was, we've been waiting for this. And Mike knows what I'm talking about. I mean, those first couple years at Webster, we had KK Rodriguez. I'm like, oh, my God. But literally I walk in, and here's the season. We didn't get to mesh, and she's still an awesome kid, did a lot of big things. But to finally these kids get to hey, we're supposed to do something. And again, we thought we weren't going to get to do anything was pretty awesome. And our juniors coming back, I mean, I hope we can make some noise again because I think we're pretty solid. They're going to be solid. Hopefully we stay out of the same class. with the movement that can happen,
yeah.
We don't know anymore.
With the 1 year cycle now, with the 1 year cycle.
Do not know how stuff's going to happen. I know I think I was told 38 kids away from being class 5. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That wasn't 100 kids. We're talking 38 kids.
Yeah. Oh, I'll still never forget the 1 year Parkway West was one over. Yeah. I think between class 4 and class 5, they were one over to go to class 5. One kid pushed them into a higher classification, and that was the 2 year rotation. Now with Mission making the rules, which I'm going to be honest, guys, I like the 1 year rotations. I really do. I think that kind of evens the playing field a little bit, gives some balance, so to say. I'm not a big fan of the championship quotient that they're kind of working in. And Mike, I know why you're rolling your eyes.
It's not worked in. It's here. That's why we're in class 5.
It's real life. I know.
He proved it worked, though.
He proved it can be done.
Hey, thanks, Mike. Now everybody thinks it's perfect.
Well, wait a minute.
So, a couple of people commenting. Maggie Durbin Young. Congratulations to Coach Slater. 7 years he took the program from the bottom to the top and made Whitfield a program to watch. Our good friend Ben Elick likes your sweatshirt, Coach Spool.
Your sweatshirt is on point.
That's all I got. That's all I got.
One of the great officials in the area, John Diffley, congratulates both you guys. So,
John.
Thanks, John.
John did my first 8 games this year.
That was the running joke at Viz.
John, put that on there. Say something about that. First 8 games, and then we never saw him again.
That was the running joke at Viz, was how many times certain officials were going to get him.
Oh, seriously. John was 8 straight games. I'd never seen anything like it.
Well,
it was okay, John. You did great, John.
Well, I got to thank Maggie. Maggie's PE teacher at Whitfield, and she does our book, and I really appreciate that. But, I feel like we had Ken Bergman, every game through biz.
Some of them brought a cot. They had a cot. They had a bag of snacks.
Right.
And they just stayed for a while.
Like I was more surprised when we didn't have Ken than when we did.
Shout out to Ken Bergman.
Oh, by the way, Diffley.
Hey, and Ken, you were great. You were awesome.
Diffley wants a state medal. Diffley wants a state medal.
I do have an extra.
And I'll say this.
John, I have an extra.
We talk about the kids. We talk about the coaches, the administrators. What about the officials this year?
I was going to bring that up at the end because that is.
Well, we're going to talk March Madness here, but go ahead and go.
Kudos to the men and women that have stepped up and done this because they didn't have to. To me, there was a part of my staff that was like, if the refs say they don't want to do this, we're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And for everybody, and to have great attitudes, and of course, every official that's ever worked at Josh Spool Webster Groves games has done perfectly, and you're welcomed back whenever you want.
He did not say that when I worked his game. Well, let me just say this. Me and Josh would end up having side conversations during the games because I'm trying to get him not to yell at anybody, and so we would just have same thing with James. I mean, you know, James, me
He's
and him
a stomper.
Oh, but me and James,
big game.
Big game.
The name is Big Game. Get it right.
Me and James would literally sit there, and we would talk about anything else under the sun other than basketball. And he would always say, Jim, I just glad I can talk to somebody because, you know, and I you know, and those are, you know, and Mike, I've worked Mike's games as well, and we've had a blast. And, you know, I think, you know, and here's going to be my official show for the night. I think that, you know, everybody this year just did a tremendous job. I mean, in battling, you know, we talk about the kids having to wear, the officials had to wear masks.
They did.
And here's the deal.
In the county,
Yeah. And we've been talking about this for 2 or 3 years now. The officials are getting older.
Oh, yeah.
You just don't see young ones. I mean, you're young in the official world.
So right now I am. No, seriously.
Diffley and you keep saying Bergman. I mean, they were at Eureka all the time, too. It's the same people you see. These guys are doing this 5 nights a week. We've got to figure out a way to get some younger people in to kind of start.
And this is the hope that with the show.
You said that.
And this is the hope with the show because there's going to be a couple shows that we're going to do throughout the summer and all that to, you know, get the Pat Burns of the worlds on and Mark Probst and, you know, Kenny Seifert from Mshsaa.
The problem is simple. It's they're officials, players, and coaches are over here, and officials are over here. And that's stupid.
Yeah.
Because without officials, and I tell my kids all the time, I go, if we don't have officials, we don't have basketball.
He's about to open up Pandora's box.
I
know he is.
There is no but there are officials even with myself.
Yeah.
And I'll try to talk and it's not there and that's fine. But we have got to bridge that gap. And I've been talking with Pat. Pat and I are going to be putting some stuff together this summer.
Right.
To get officials working with coaches and games with high school kids and just
we have to because you know and I'm sorry but
you're fine, Mike.
This is a topic I would love to have or conversation I would love to have because I agree with Josh 100%.
Yeah.
There needs to be a dialogue somewhere, you know, and I started doing this when I was 28 years old, and I would on purpose, when I talked, I did this.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want them to think that some young guy's trying to show them up, and I would do this. And even in a mask, I'm so used to doing it, I would still do that, right? I don't want people reading my lips, and I tried not to be demonstrative, and people for years are like, how do you keep your cool? Nah, I'm not cool because I can do this. And I say, Josh, you are killing me.
Right.
I mean, I can do that, but I'm not going to show them up because I tell my kids all the time, they're people too.
Yeah.
And so you go and you're doing this and you're tossing the ball at an official.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let some 14, 15-year-old kid show me up. I'm like, they are people. And so I don't have to like it, but I'm not going to get thrown out in a 2-possession game,
right?
So everything can just, you know.
Oh, I have one thought. I know. Cleveland wants. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say. My wife tells me this all the time. It's not what you say; it's how you say it.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's a conversation that I try and have with the coaches all the time. Right. I mean, there's going to be calls that.
It's hard.
I mean, believe it or not, Jim Powers has made a bad call.
That happens more than
to be on this show.
That was the bad call.
That was it right there. No.
But there's going to be bad calls, and how you react to that. I mean, that's what sports is teaching you.
Absolutely.
Something bad happens. How do you overcome it? Whether it's a call, whether it's a season, whether it's whatever. So
I know my disconnect. Well, I don't know what word to use. Is I yell at my kids all day because they need to do better. And then when I leave, I love those kids, and we have the right conversations. And I think sometimes as coaches, they think you can do the same with a ref. And so I've tried to build some relationships, and some will, hey, let's go have a soda, after the game or whatever. And I don't mean that like I'm trying to bribe you.
Right.
I mean that like I respect what you do, and I know I am a loud, angry. I'm not as young as I once was, but I'm still looked at as one of the young guys. I'm 35 now. I've been doing this for 14 years. I'm not, I'm not brand new anymore, but I'm still looked at that way. So I try to open those lines of communication, and sometimes they get shut down. And that's what I think we really got to work to make go away.
Yeah, and I agree 100%. And I try to bring sometimes levity. Right? Especially this year, and I've done it for years, but especially this year when there's the eye in the sky, right? And the film is there. And I'll tell an official, like, hey, steak dinner. It's right there. Don't lie. Steak dinner. Right?
I'm going to send you the film.
How's that work out? I'm going to send you the film.
Exactly. Well, but but I'm trying to kind of joke with them, but I'm serious in that, hey, I disagree.
Right.
And Josh just said it. We have to do better. And we have to at least be able to talk, because in that coaches meeting, what do they say? I know. They say, hey, come to me as long as you come to me.
We're here to work for you.
Yeah. It's like,
yeah.
Well,
I tell you what,
then.
One of the things this year, and this will be this before I want to talk about March Madness real quick. Dustin Hayes over at Rockwood Summit worked one of his games earlier this year, and he sent me an email. He said, "Hey, do you mind if I send you a couple clips so you can explain what I think one was a traveling call, another one was a backside push in the back." I said, "Absolutely." And literally, we spent about 15, 20 minutes that afternoon. I watched the clips, took some notes, and we sat there and had a great dialogue.
That's why everyone loves Jim.
And I would love to be able to do that, because I've said this many times, and it's fallen on deaf ears, because there's one call, and I'm saying, hey, what else could my kid do? Because I want to teach them later. Because we'll spend time in practice going over certain rules that a lot of people get wrong, over and back.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Because, how many people know about the 3 contact points?
The 3 points, exactly.
And so I teach we'll take 5-10 minutes, and we'll have that discussion in practice, and invariably it'll come up, right? A block versus a charge. It's like some people think you can't move. Well, that's not true.
It's not true.
Right? And so when things like that come up and they happen, and my kids are looking at me like, Coach, you said, I'm like, I'm right, but they've got the whistle, so they are righter today.
No doubt.
And so when we have that conversation, it's like, help me understand what they could have done differently.
Exactly.
So if we could have that conversation like you just described, man, that would be much better.
It'd be huge. It would be absolutely huge. Good friend of all of ours, in fact, Greg Dunnigan, watching the show from down in Hawaii.
Baby.
And then, of course, the Peanut Gallery and Ben Elick is sending us notes about an official being assigned to every team for the year.
It was true.
It was true.
Yeah.
Last thing. There's this little thing going on in Indianapolis. It's called March Madness.
I thought you were saying the NFL Combine.
No.
Hey, don't forget San Antonio. You
and
got
San
two
Antonio,
girls
I was
here.
going to get to that. But honestly, number one, I think, and once again, I do a lot of stuff for the NCAA. They totally missed the boat on how the men were treated, the women were treated. I saw that tweet, and I was astounded. I watched some of the women's D2 Elite 8 games today. They're playing in a ballroom in Columbus. I think there's a major disparity, and it's got to be rectified. And I've read some of the things that some of the longtime college coaches that have put out there, and they are exactly right. The NCAA needs to address what is going on with women, because that's the only way that anything's going to be rectified, and we collectively can grow the game of girls and women's basketball. And I just want to say that. I think that was just an absolute travesty. And they've got some corporate sponsors that stepped up to the plate and got those ladies the stuff that they needed to be successful. But the tournaments overall have just been absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, a 15 seed,
they just won again.
The second 15 seed, yeah, they just won again.
Oh, are you?
Well, that was when they beat my Buckeyes to open the doggone tournament up. Why do you got to go there? I'm trying to keep the game on. I'm trying to keep the show on the rails, and you got to make me go there.
I'm getting geared up for tomorrow night.
Okay, I'm sorry. But 15 seed, second time since Dunk City. I mean, one number one already gone, and Sister Jean doing her magic once again.
I
up
got
at
to
Loyola.
see Dunk City live here in St. Louis when they did that.
Yeah. I mean, just how insane it is. But I think right now on the women's side, the women's seeds are holding pretty strong. But honestly, I think that may be a 4-team race to the Final Four with UConn and Baylor. I mean, we were watching. But how just wacky has March Madness been this year, and just watching everything from in Indianapolis and down in San Antonio.
What hashtag busted?
Is
that?
Oh man,
my brackets are done. I'm not even watching anymore. Just kidding. I'll watch every game. But
Vegas is loving it. I can
dude, yeah. They're crying about not making any money.
Well, guess what? Here it is.
There you go.
I mean, it's just been nuts.
It is.
But the one thing I'm saying with that I'm seeing is you're seeing a lot more parity in the mid-major, and there's some of these mid-major teams that can go at the high level and compete with the big kids on the block.
Well, I mean, and it just makes you think about Gonzaga and how they've become that perennial power. Like Gonzaga used to be, that bracket buster, right? And so parity, you hit the nail on the head. It's parity, and I think that kind of translates into more opportunity for more kids, and everybody's not just trying to go to Duke or wherever, North Carolina, wherever on the men's side. It's like, hey, I can go to Gonzaga, I can go to Wichita State. If we rewind the clock a few years, and I can play at a high level now. I can play on national TV. And
so are they going to put an asterisk?
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Hey, you want to know why there'd be an asterisk? I think this is the first time that any of us have been alive. Duke didn't make it.
Well, Duke and Kentucky.
Oh no, they listed
Duke
all the
not
powers.
make it?
Yeah.
Duke and Kentucky don't make it. North Carolina gets their doors blown off in the first round. Illinois, a number 1 seed. I mean, and I'll put it this way: Porter Mosier made Illinois look silly. I mean, really. I mean, and once again, I've gotten to know Porter, with some of the stuff I've done with the Valley when he was at Illinois State, and then obviously here, with the Billikens. And there's not a nicer guy in the whole wide world. And for the success he's having up at Loyola, I'm going to be personally hoping that he gets the Indiana job. I think that they should be looking at him. Not that I'm an Indiana fan or anything, but
is Ohio State looking for a new coach?
No.
Just checking.
See, why does everybody got to pile on? I expect the piling on from those two over there.
No, they're piling food in their
I know they are.
now.
Well, and that's what we're going to do. But
food.
guys. I just want to thank you all for helping me kick this thing off. You guys, what an unbelievable year. I've known both of you for years, and Clee, just having you on board with
What
us.
is it? What do we do?
I don't know.
High fives, low fives.
Clee, we've known each other for years and love what you do out at Eureka. But fellas, thanks so much, and great job this year, and thanks for helping me kick this thing off.
Be back
Keep
anytime,
up the
baby.
high school coverage. It's awesome.
Thanks, guys.
We love you.
Josh Poole from Webster Groves, Mike Slater from Whitfield, Greg Cleveland from Eureka. Ray, this kind of went fast, and I know we went a little over, but that's okay because we had some great conversation.
We started talking about this, and it was like, okay, we're going to keep this at 60 minutes.
Yeah.
We are at We're at an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Wow.
It
I've
is
got
what it is.
4,
'Cause we have
5,
a lot
6,
to talk
7
about.
more things to talk about.
We got a lot to talk about.
I thought this was halftime. No, shoot.
Intermission.
But no, I mean, what a great way to kick things off. We want, first off, thanks to great folks here at River's Edge. I mean, and this is going to be our home.
Yep.
The April show, we're still kicking around a few dates.
I have a date that I thought we had April 22nd, 7 p.m.
Yes, April 22nd.
That's a Thursday.
That's a Thursday night, so it'll be a Thursday night.
There it is.
But April 22nd, already have a few commitments for people that are going to be here.
Okay.
We're all free. Hey, we're all free.
We're all free.
Actually.
Oh,
Come
don't
on
worry.
back.
The summer we're going to do the panel, and I'll bring you guys back to talk about officiating. So we'll do the panel. I knew that would get these guys going. But want to thank our great friends at River's Edge. Oh, by the way, you didn't give Kevin
Warner,
Kevin
come here.
Warner a shout out.
Kevin,
no, we're not
come
putting
here.
them on. We don't want to break laptops around the country right now. So, but no, all the great people here, and come to River's Edge. They got great food. They do an outstanding job here in South City. Once again, Chippewa and River de Pere. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, the 1-year anniversary of the Coach's Box. They're doing it from Jason Jarvis's basement.
We're bringing the Caravan.
It's going to be hysterical. But no, these guys do a great job, and I'm glad to be teammates with them here on Livestream STL. But, what a great way to get things kicked off. And, Ray, thank you for everything. And, once again, if anybody wants to sponsor, please,
Definitely.
feel free to give, either me a call. My cell number is 314-488-8386. Ray can put up the slide.
I'll throw up something here before I give that out real quick. I'll let you know.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
I guess I'm going to be. Look at that guy.
I was yelling at my kid.
Oh my gosh!
Not the ref. I was yelling at my kid.
Oh, wait a second. Hold on. I knew he was coming. Could somebody get me the police that I had outside?
Oh, Lordy, Chris Miller.
Chris Miller, Riley Blair tomorrow night with Jason Jarvis and Zach McVeigh. 7 o'clock from Jarvis's basement.
Yep.
Thanks for coming, brother.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. And real quick, we got baseball starting here.
Exactly.
And to tell you a little bit about baseball.
Well, let's get people first before we do baseball if they want to sponsor.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give them the game so they can sponsor ahead of time.
That's
There you go. Here we go. We got Festus coming out to Lutheran South on March 30th at 4:30. We'll be out there getting a little taste of Lutheran South Lancer baseball. And then we'll be over at Herculaneum High School as the St. Pius Lancers come to town. Herculaneum, March 31st. So they're back-to-back. I believe those days are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, something like that, 4:30. And if you're interested in sponsoring with us, not just for baseball, but anything here, also with us here at the High School Caravan, I got the baseball advertising information up here at 314-852-4398, or you can also get a hold of us at livestreamstl@outlook.com. So sponsor with us, and you keep us going.
Absolutely.
Right?
Or you can reach out to us on either the High School Sports Caravan Facebook page or the Livestream STL Facebook page.
Absolutely. There you have it. All right.
Number 1 in the books, the reboot is official.
The reboot is official. There you go.
Love it.
There you have it. Hey, for Ray Halbrook, for Jim Powers, all of us here at Livestream STL, we're going to say so long. Thanks so much for being with us. Again, don't forget, next month we'll have this again. So stay tuned, and hope to see you tomorrow night for the Coach's Box. Have a great evening.